What's up, guys? Spin Firearms here with 40 going out the window, 45 gap being long gone, 357 SIG not even talked about. 10mm has become a very popular caliber for the handgun world, right? Some people choose it for bear defense, others self-defense, some home defense. And today we're going to talk about, is 10mm too much for everyday carry? And there's a lot that goes into that question, right? Is there too much recoil? Too much power to potentially overpenetrate? Is it too much in terms of civilian self-defense? Is this something that is safe to carry? And we're going to talk about that, as I've owned this Glock 29 SF for a couple years now, and it's definitely changed my mind over time as I've gotten to shoot it, as I've gotten to learn it, and also I've learned a lot from letting other people shoot this handgun, right? But one thing I always get told is, oh, power doesn't matter. Power doesn't matter. But then from other people I hear, power does matter. Power does matter. And so it's always been an ongoing argument, as well as capacity, right? And one thing I like to say to these people is, I carry everything. I carry 380 pocket pistols, which have probably terrible ballistics, but the purpose for carrying it is to have something on me. I'd rather have something than nothing. And that's my whole philosophy, right? So going from that, I carry 9mm. I also carry 40. I carry a little bit of everything, and it all depends on the situation. But what I always ask them is, okay, we're going to bear country. Which are you taking? If it doesn't matter, you could just honestly close your eyes and grab a handgun. It wouldn't matter, right? Okay, bring the kids. We're going in the woods today. We're going to bear country. You're not taking the Glock 28 and 380. You're just not. It's just like, okay, we have Glock 29. We also have a Glock 26 and 9mm. Okay, guys, we're bringing the family. We're going to go, tenting in bear country. What should we bring? You're not bringing the 9mm. You might bring it as a backup, but you sure aren't using that as your number one go-to against a bear. So therefore, power does matter. And you're going to be in the exact same situation, because it's going to be a grizzly or a brown bear or whatever the case may be charging you. Just like a human being would be, right? Charging you potentially with a weapon. So stopping power and ending the threat as quick as possible is the answer, right? But there's more that goes into that, right? I agree that power matters, right? I'm taking, in bear country, a 357 SIG, especially for penetration, over a 380, right? And we've heard numerous stories of 45 taking down bears, right? You don't hear stories of bears being taken down by 380. You just don't, because people tend to carry a 45 that's overloaded, with an extended barrel, stuff like that, longer slides, or a 10mm. You simply do that because of the power, the energy dump, the stopping power. Therefore, we're going to talk about the Glock 29 and some options in between. The Glock 29, when I first got it and you shoot it, you're like, okay, this thing has some power to it. It has a little bit more recoil, a little bit more snappiness. But something that always helped me is I've had 40s and 357 SIGs for basically forever, since I started carrying, since I started owning handguns. So 40 is something I've always been familiar with. And basically what 10mm is a larger 40. A 40 with more powder in it, right? A longer casing with the same projectile, basically. Now, 10mm is amazing now because it's found in handguns and platforms that have good capacity. This setup right here is 10 plus 1 of 10mm. Sorry, I said that wrong. This is 11 plus 1 of 10mm. This is a plus 2. Therefore, I can get a full grip on this thing, and I have sitting in here 12 total rounds. So it's a 9-round mag with this base plate, makes it 11 plus 1. So 12 rounds of 10mm. Even with the flush 9mm base plate, because this is the SF version, don't forget, even with that flush base plate and my pinky underneath, 9 plus 1 for a total of 10 rounds of 10mm is plenty, right? So in 10mm, the best thing about these handguns is the ammo. They make ammo for everything. They make hard casts, they make solid projectiles, they use fluid dispersion, they make hollow points. So you have the best and top tier technology that's in 9mm also put into 10mm rounds, making them extremely powerful, or, in some cases, easier to shoot, but going much faster with civil liberty. You have so many great options. The number one thing I would say that would make me choose if I would carry this or not is, one, what ammo am I carrying? I'm not going to be carrying solid projectiles in a Glock 29, right? That's too much. For civilian everyday carry, no solid projectiles for self-defense. But what you would carry is, something like a Civil Liberty round, right? It's extremely flat shooting, but also going at ridiculous speeds, therefore making it dang near the perfect defensive rounds. There's also HSTs. I mean, there's basically everything out there, just no solid projectile, and that's definitely worth carrying. The number one thing, though, is how you manage the recoil. For me, I can shoot this thing pretty well. It did take time to get used to, I will say that, but shooting 40 has definitely helped. Shooting 357 SIG and 45 definitely help, but you do notice a big step up from going from like a 357 SIG or 40 to the 10 millimeter. And you definitely notice a big step up going from 9 millimeter. Is it doable? Yes, of course. This handgun was meant to be carried and defend your life against bears. The one thing I will say, though, is if you're noticing that you're not handling that handgun as well, before carrying it, you need to practice more. If you get a limp wrist in a situation, your handgun is not worth it. So a lot of times, having too much recoil or snappiness can hurt the person, which I would say that person definitely shouldn't carry a Glock 29 or any handgun in 10 millimeter. If you can handle recoil, if you carry the right defensive rounds that won't overpenetrate, I think 10 millimeter, whether it's the XDM platform, the Glock platform, the Smith & Wesson platform, it is a heck of a round. It has the potential to put a scary or, terrible situation that your family could be in to an end real quick, and quicker than 9 millimeter and 380. And that's just being real. A lot of times people think it's just going to be at the range. Okay, let's sit here and get our target in self-defense. That's not defensive shooting. It's chaos, it's pushing, it's grappling, it's fighting for a weapon, it's chaos. So being able to land one shot of 10 millimeter versus one shot of anything else is potentially the difference between life and death. It really is. And do I carry 10 millimeter all the time? No, I don't. But I do have my holster that I got, months ago, and I have carried this multiple times for everyday carry. And I've been training with 10 millimeter, shooting a lot of 10 millimeter. The other weekend, we shot like 300 rounds of 10 millimeter in one sitting and just had a blast with it. I have had one, malfunction in this handgun. It was a failure to feed. It was actually on camera, but the handgun wasn't clean for about 12 or 1,300 rounds, and that's a little ridiculous, especially for this 10 millimeter. So after I cleaned it, it's ran absolutely flawless since, and we'll chalk it up to maybe the ammo / the feed ramp being all gunked up as well as my handgun, right? Anyways, love this thing. Trust it with my life. For the people who want to carry 10 millimeter, I would say carry 10 millimeter. If you're comfortable with it, the capacity is there, the stopping power is definitely there, the awesome platforms that are reliable are definitely there. So I would say 100% anything in 10 millimeter right now from a reliable brand is a great option, especially with the way things are going. If there's multiple attackers, one round doing the job is huge. Now, like I said, handling recoil is the biggest thing. Defensive ammo being on point is also a massive thing with this because it is so powerful. But if you didn't want to carry something like this, or you want to eventually work your way up to a 10 millimeter, because I'm not going to lie, I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm not a human. When you first start shooting a bigger caliber, especially as a new shooter, it can be rough. It can take some getting used to. So, you guys see how I handle recoil. You guys see how I shoot. That's from years of practicing with it. If you want to work your way up, there's a couple ways to go. You can, 40 is very readily available and affordable. Get a Glock 29. Glock 27. This is a great way to work yourself up to a Glock 29. Plus, you can shoot 40 out of your 10 millimeter. I don't recommend it, but you definitely can. And this is a great way to go. This is like a, 3/4 of what a 10 millimeter is going to feel like in a Glock 29, right? Being a smaller, lighter package. Also, same thing. And just as, one would say maybe just as good as 10 millimeter for defensive carry. I definitely recommend 357 SIG for defensive carry over 10 millimeter because of penetration, all sorts of stuff. But this is another way to go. Get yourself a good Glock 33 and 357 SIG, and this will work you right up to a Glock 29. And on top of that, you'll have an awesome side piece. If you have these as your two carry guns, or these are your two carry guns, you are winning. That is an awesome combo. That is, you can't argue it. Then on top of that, you can always get, which is the same size. If you get this handgun right here, you can actually turn it to a Glock 29. If you have a Glock 30 SF, you can get a conversion barrel and convert it to 10 millimeter. Or you can just buy a whole new Glock upper, which isn't really worth it. I would just buy a Glock 29 at that point. But eventually you could work your way up to the 29 10 millimeter. I'm not going to sit here and be a fraud and say, oh, it's nothing. You know, when you first start shooting, 10 millimeters easy. No, it's not. You got to learn how to shoot it and not limp wrist it and not cause malfunctions. But other than that, it is one of the best defensive handguns slash rounds slash platforms that are out there right now, being the Glock 29. But 10 millimeter, yes, 100%. I stand by it for defensive carry, but your hollow points are a big part in all of this. And also, how comfortable are you with it? Thanks for watching.